Hello everybody, my name's SJM. This is my SevTech Ages of the Sky Let's Play. This is episode 26. Today we're getting into the first true tech-based mod in the pack here in Age 3. So we'll be getting into Immersive Engineering. So in between episodes, I went around the world, I found all the ores, got some ready, got everything crafted up there. And the ore excavation modifier really comes in handy, collecting all that ore. Super quick to do and easy peasy. So I showed you how to do all this stuff in the last episode, and going down this line here, you can do a windmill for power, but I'm going to show you a better one, in my opinion anyways, just because the windmills are pretty weak and it's all passive power one way or the other. It's just what's easier to move here and there and set up and chain together power as well is another thing. I might do a water wheel setup, but I doubt it very highly. If I'm going to do an advanced power setup, it'll be a steam turbine in this pack. So we start off with the engineer manual, then we need the workbench, then it gets us to make a couple of doohickeys and doodads, which we don't really need right away. And then we get into the core sample drill, which is will find us where our oil is. So let's just go over the bits and bobs of getting there. So you want to make yourself some LV wire connectors, and if you're going to be doing a little bit more of a setup, you'll want wire relays. Terracotta is just, you have to press some clay into a block in the horse press and then cook it to get terracotta. Otherwise, if you're lucky enough to have found a Badlands type biome close by, maybe you'll have some terracotta which you can just mine, and I'd grab yourself a stack or two of it because you'll go through it in this mod pretty easily. LV wire coils, you'll need to make some copper wire, and then a stick or the treated sticks. Just use regular sticks, don't bother using the treated sticks because you'll need a few of those for doing other things anyways. Copper wire, pretty easy. You'll just have to make the engineer's wire cutters and use them on copper plate to get your copper wire, and we'll get a more efficient recipe once we make one of the items from Immersive Engineering, the metal press. The engineer's wire cutters are a little bit trickier in this pack. You just have to make the iron knife blade from Tinkers. So you'll have to go into your Tinkers, find the iron knife blade, make a stone one, and then cast it into gold to get the cast, and then pour an iron one, and then you've got a useless cast sitting around unless you're going to be making shurikens later in the pack, which I guess you can, totally up to you if you want to go that route. And then 2 treated sticks get you your engineer's wire cutters so that you can make the copper wire to get your LV wire coils. And then we'll be using a capacitor, just probably one for now, to power our core sample drill. So that first thing was getting the engineer's manual. Just a book and a lever gets you the engineer's manual. The next step, engineer's workbench. Just 3 treated wood planks and a treated wood fence. Don't be afraid to make up a bunch of these treated wood fences. You will go through them, making all of the things that you need basically to get through Immersive Engineering here relatively smoothly anyways. So 3 wood planks, 1 fence, any kind of crafting table gets your engineer's workbench. This is where you're going to make your doodads, and you will need blueprints to put onto the workbench before you can actually craft your doodads. Just note that when you look up the crafting components engineer's blueprint, it gives you all 4 different kinds of blueprint in the same craft. So don't get confused thinking, oh, this is the easy one, I'll just make this. Well, no, this one makes your metal press molds blueprint. This one here with aluminum, copper, and iron ingots will make you your crafting components blueprint. unless you're going to be going into the guns in immersive engineering, you never need this one with the common projectiles. And then this one for the arc furnace electrodes, you will probably want to get because the arc furnace is just super efficient at what it does. But getting the hop graphite dust and the arc furnace electrodes themselves is a little bit of a rabbit hole and kind of a pain in the butt, but worth it at the end of the day. So getting our vacuum tubes on your engineer's workbench with the crafting components blueprint, you just need any glass, a nickel plate, a copper wire, and a redstone, and you'll get 3 vacuum tubes for your troubles there. Go ahead, make half a stack of this, 33 or whatever, just to get yourself started into it, and then it prevents you from having to go back and make more every time. Like, being super efficient with these little doodads isn't super interesting. The next one is the circuit board. This one gets a little bit tricky because it will take up some of your vacuum tubes that we just made. Your copper plate and this insulating glass. This one's a little bit tricky because it not only requires green dye powder, which is a little bit tricky if you don't have these plants kicking around, but you can always cook up cactus to get cactus green and then put that through the grindstone or the millstone if you want to be a little bit more efficient with it there. Your cactus green will get you 2 if you put it through the millstone. And then you need this iron grit. So to get the iron grit, if you don't have your crusher and you don't have your quartz grindstone, you definitely want to use your astral grindstone, which you should have. Definitely highly recommend having this for getting your good astral, your rocks and your celestial crystals. And then you just put an iron cluster on there and that'll get your iron grit. After you make those doodads, which don't go into any recipes just yet, but you will use them at points through the pack there, so don't be, like I said, don't be afraid to make a bunch of these doodads right now while you're doing it, just to get it out of the way, and then it's done. Then we move on to the core sample drill. This is one of the blocks in immersive engineering that isn't actually a multi-block structure. Most of the stuff in immersive is a big multi-block thing, and you need your book to be able to figure out how to build it and what you need to build it. But this one is a single block, so the recipe is in JEI. You'll just need 4 steel scaffolding, 3 steel fences, and 2 light engineering blocks. This will be the first place where you start using some of those crafting components because you need these iron mechanical components. You can make these vanilla style with this recipe here, but it takes an extra copper ingot for every one that you want to make. Actually, no, sorry, 2 extra iron plates for every one that you want to make. So you can almost half this recipe by using the engineer's workbench with your crafting component blueprint, which you should have already had for the vacuum tubes and the circuit board, and then it only costs you 2 iron plates and 1 iron ingot for each iron mechanical component that you want to make. So back to here, 3 copper ingots, 4 iron ingots, 2 mechanical components. You'll get 2 light engineering blocks for each recipe that you make there. So one recipe will get you what you need for your core sample drill. Likewise, 1 steel fence recipe, you'll need to make steel rods, which is just on the anvil, before you get a metal press anyways, just on the anvil hammering out iron plates. Iron plates obviously on the anvil just with a steel ingot. Once you have all of this, you'll definitely want to get yourself a source of power. You can get the water mill and set it up. You can get a windmill and set it up, but I use thermoelectric generators. It does require a little bit of setup, but once you've got them set up, you can actually even chain them together to get more and more power if you want, whereas with the windmills, it really starts to get bulky and out of control for putting them together, whereas you can put these together in some chains pretty efficiently with the way they work. It does require you to make constantan, which is just an alloy in the furnace. So If you look at the alloying there, 1 copper, 1 nickel will get you 2 constant tan. Constant tan is also used to make redstone alloy, which you'll also need, so it can't hurt to make yourself a few blocks of this and just pour out what you need for now and save the rest for mixing with glowstone and redstone to get your redstone alloy, which you will need to make other items in this age anyways, so it can't hurt to have some constant tan lying around, even if you pour it out of your smeltery and you don't keep it in its liquid form like what I'm doing actually right here. I'm just keeping a few blocks behind just for when I want to get more stuff. Keeping a base of lava there, it also stops my automatic pours from pouring out any of these things automatically into whatever I have here. So we've got our core sample drill. We've got a capacitor, which I actually just hooked up to my thermoelectric generator. The way these work, they need something cold on one side and something hot on the other. And likewise, you'll want to do all 4 sides just to maximize the amount of power this will generate. Also, the hotter something is or the colder something is on the other side will help generate more power. So later on, when we have access to higher things, we can get more power out of it, but this is fine for now. Just 2 things of lava and then 2 ice. And I just chiseled the ice that I found by killing some of the frozen skeletons. You can also make ice in your astral enchanter machine that I have down there. Can't quite see it here. But if you just put some glass into this guy right here, you can get ice out of it if you haven't found any ice from the frozen skeletons. But yeah, just hooked up with some connectors and some wire coils to the generator, filled it up. And now I've got this hanging out. This is the way you craft it comes base. Blue means input. And to change the mode, you can actually just take your engineer's hammer and right click on it. Now the orange means output rather than changing a specific side, because the way I'm going to do this, each chunk has a chance of having oil or water or lava, also some minerals possibly in it as well. So you just pay attention to your chunk borders. And to do this pretty efficiently, I set this up on a corner of 4 different chunks. So then we'll just slap down our connector, connect up those 2 together there. Oh, I'm not using insulated wire, so it will damage you if you get too close to that. And this guy here, he's taking some damage. Serves you right, silly little horse. Once this is full with 8000 IF, you just right click on it and it will give you your core sample. So we'll just give this a couple of seconds to do its thing. And once that comes out, we right click on it again and we get our core sample, and we can just put this down. And if you put it down in the chunk you got it from, then you'll remember what's in your chunk. Just shift right clicking there. So this had no minerals and no fluids, so a completely useless chunk for what we're looking for here. Now we don't need to move the capacitor at all. We just take our missing core sample drill, put it down in the new chunk. You got to shift click these connectors on there for it to work. But there, just bang. And then if you want to be efficient with the power that you get out of here, before you start up your core sample drill, you can just break off that there. Otherwise, it will refill with power again in between the operation. It does take the full 8000 to do the operation, but it will refill as fast as it drains it. So if you just kind of want to save it, because you lose all of your power out of it anyways. So there we've got blanked again. So we just rinse and repeat. 3rd verse, same as the first. And this time I'm going to try and stay away from my wiring so I don't get burned on it again. Where'd my wire go? Will we get lucky this time? Nope, nothing in that one. You can even see it in your inventory if it's going to have anything in it. But that one has nothing again. So there we go, and then this will be the fourth one. And we might as well break this now because we'll be moving on after this one. Oh, looks like we found some oil. So 12 million millibuckets. So that translates down to, what, 12,000 buckets of oil. So that's definitely feasible. Unfortunately, this is the chunk I was kind of planning on starting my house in, but I can always change that. But I think what I will do is just move this around a little bit around my own island, and I might even try doing, I kind of want it to be on another island, to be honest, so I probably will do that between episodes, is look for a separate island to do all of my immersive stuff, because it will be a relatively big build to do for immersive. Not huge, but it's not small either. Something like that that starts off nice and flat, although it's got a lot of water on it, which might be a pain in the butt to work around later. That one might be nice. Yeah, I will look around. What doesn't take much, obviously, as you saw, only 8,000 per, and there's they take almost nothing to fill up anyways. So we can just come back here. If I wanted to fill it up, I gotta make sure I could just make that an input side so I don't have to change it again, and then just hook that up there and see it goes up relatively quickly. It's not super fast right now, but not too shabby at all either. And it's better than relocating. If you want to relocate this, it's better than trying to relocate windmills, because you also need another piece just to make the windmill work in the first place. So that was, oh, I got a skeleton on my island. You dirty little guy. So let's just check anything else here that I missed out on going over. No, I don't think so. If you have any questions, as always, happy to answer. Throw them down in the comments, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Real life things aside, I'm pretty much on YouTube all the time, so I'll see your comments coming up whenever that happens. I do appreciate the thumbs up if you are so inclined, and I will see you in the next one.